everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is April. If you're new here, I read primarily fantasy romance, historical romance, and some weird stuff. But today we are going to talk about the Goodreads Choice Awards nominees for 2024. This just came out last night and I have been staying away from social media, so I do not know who the nominees are. I definitely watched a lot of prediction videos and I'm just wondering how many of these books I have actually read. I feel like it could be a lot of them, or I feel like it could be none of them, because I do read a lot of indie romance. I figured I'm gonna go through it on my phone and we're just gonna go through it together and react to these. This is my category. Okay, it's the one I'm most excited about. So let's get right into it. I'm dying to know who the nominees are. Okay, so I'm gonna click vote in the opening round and then switch it to Romantasy. Okay. Right now I'm already laughing. The first one I see is A Dark and Drowning Tide by Allison Saft. I did read this. I did get an arc of it and I DNF'd it. Listen, I DNF'd it very, very early, so I don't think there's anything wrong with this book. In fact, I was so hyped for this book because it was a sapphic gothic story and it was dark academia and I was all into that. Okay, I am all into that. However, when I started reading it, literally within the first few pages, I felt dumb. Felt really stupid. They were using a lot of big words and I wasn't really following the plot very well. So I decided to nope out because I could not read that for now. I definitely want to try it again at some point, but yeah, to me this was too academia. Like, it's very heavily academia and I'm just not into that like as much. Like, I definitely love a school setting and things going on, but like I think it was just a lot of the word choices that was going on. I didn't even get to the romance, which I was so sad about. Like, the romance was what I was into. I wanted to see what was gonna happen with these two. So yeah, maybe one day I'll go back to it, but I don't know, not right now. And then we have Feybound. Is this fantasy romance? I thought this book was far more fantasy heavy. Like, it was more of a fantasy book with some very small romantic subplots, but I haven't read this one either. It is one that has been on my radar, but I don't know if I'll get to it. I have heard a lot of people enjoy it and not enjoy it. It's definitely not one that I thought would be one of the nominees, so I like seeing that. I like being a little surprised by that. But no, so far I'm 0 for 2 on reading these books. And then we have Zodiac Academy book. 0 for 3 because I haven't read this either. I read the first book of the Ruthless Boys series, which is like a companion series. I enjoyed it. It was very, like, again, kind of like CW show. I kind of call these type of books a CW show because super heavy on the melodrama, but I don't think there's a lot of substance there. However, it's a good time when you read it. So no, and I don't really plan on reading this series either because it's a 9-book series, 10 books. I don't remember how many there are. Long established series intimidate me. I don't think I'm ever going to be reading the Zodiac Academy. Honestly, I don't know that I care that much. And then we have the Spell Shop. Okay, 0 for 4. So apparently we're gonna go for, so far, I haven't read any of these. But again, this is cozy fantasy romance, so it's not really my bag. Like, I love the cover. The cover is gorgeous. But I have to be really, really in the mood for cozy fantasy. So will I read this one? I don't know. However, I just saw the cover of the second book that's coming out and I didn't think it could be prettier than this one, but it is. It's so so pretty. And covers get me. So I might read this at some point. Maybe I'll find the audiobook of it and do it that way. When the Moon Hatched. Okay, over 5. Also haven't read this one. But this one is a possibility. Like, this is the strongest possibility so far. I've heard a lot of people say it's very lyrical writing, so you're either gonna love it or hate it. Most of the time I like it, but again, I don't like all very like fluffy type of books. I have read another book by Sarah A. Parker. I read like the very beginning of it and I thought it was really cool. So I'm like, this one is just a chunky book and I was hoping to listen to the audiobook of it and I haven't got it from the library yet. So I am probably going to read this at some point. I don't know if it's going to be immediately, but yeah, it's a dragon book about dragons and some girl and that's all I know. That's really all I know about it. I'm so far very pleased to see the books on this list. You have a sapphic read, you have non-white authors, 3 are white authors. So I don't know, like there is some diversity this year so far. So I'm at least pleased to see something. Okay, what's next? I finally have one. Yes, Quicksilver. This will be my vote, honestly. I don't even have to see the rest of the nominees. Like I will be voting Quicksilver for this one. All-time favorite. A new all-time favorite for me. Is so fun. Totally a perfect April book, honestly. Like I would just like, this book hooked me so much. It was non-stop for me. Even the slow parts felt important and I love the banter back and forth. I love the romance in it. I love the plot of this. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for the second book of this. I freaking love Quicksilver. I need to have a copy for my shelves, but I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of special editions next year of this book. So I'm kind of waiting to hopefully snag one of those from one of the book boxes. But yeah, I love this book. I'm so happy to see it on this list. I'm so glad. I actually didn't know if we would see this book because it is indie. I know it was picked up, but I don't think is the traditionally published or indie published book out now? I can't remember, but yeah, love this book. I'm so excited to see it on here. Oh, okay. The Apprentice to the Villain. I thought this would be on here too. And I love how this is like switching up a little bit. This is fantasy, but it's more like superhero fantasy. And I've heard these are pretty comical and really just a delight to read. So I love seeing just books that are like full of joy on this list. I have not read this series. So far I've only read one of these books. I don't really know much about this author or the book series. All I know is like superhero villain books, which I've read a couple of those. But I haven't read this one yet. So I probably will read this because everyone says it's hilarious or at least funny and they enjoyed it. So I definitely think I will read this series at some point. I know I have it on audiobook, so that's why I say yes. This is honestly a little shocking. The Games Gods Play by Abigail Owen, because this book just came out and I know it's a Red Tower book that has the sprayed edges on it, which a lot of people were thinking that these books could be on this list. But this one just came out and it doesn't even have a lot of reviews right now. I'm honestly kind of shocked this is on here. Do I have this one? I think I just got this one too. Hang on. I don't have this one. I don't know a lot about it, honestly, but I have seen it. I have seen some people interested in reading it, but I don't really know anyone that's fully read it yet. The Veiled Kingdom! Yes! Finally! A second book that I read. Listen, I love Holly Renee. I love her books. I love that they are kind of heavier on the romance and lighter on the plot. I don't always need heavy plot for my fantasy romance. Like I just don't. Sometimes I want a quick and dirty, okay? This is kind of an in-between one between her other series that is definitely more of like a 90-10 fantasy romance where there's 90% hot, 10% plot. But The Veiled Kingdom is definitely more of like, I'll say 70-30. I really loved The Veiled Kingdom. Haven't read the second one yet, although it is on my TBR to read before the end of this year. And I can't wait for the third one to come out. So I love seeing this. I don't think it's going to beat Quicksilver, but I love seeing it on this list. Like it's definitely, to me, deserves the hype. Gold by Raven Kennedy, another series that I have not read that everyone keeps telling me I should, that I'll like. I don't disagree with them. I probably would like, but again, it's on the 5th book and these are chunky books, okay? They're very chunky. And I'm very intimidated by big books right now. Probably another one that I really need to pick up on audiobook, to be honest. Like, I do think I want to read this at some point. It's not on my immediate TBR, but just because everyone keeps telling me I'll really love it, like I definitely think I will read it at some point. Not a book that I'm gonna vote for, but I love seeing it on this list. Oh God, Born of Blood and Ash. I knew we had to have a J-Law book on here. Listen, I'm not into this series at all. Nothing about it appeals to me. I did read the original one. I think is it From Blood and Ash? Is that the original one? It was meh. It was meh for me. Like, honestly, it's just nothing special about it stands out in my brain. I have the second one. I've had it for a long time. Need to unhaul it because I'm never, honestly just never gonna read it. I kind of figured this would be on here because J. Law and Sarah J. Maas are honestly like top tier fantasy romance authors, and they both had books coming out. We all knew who's really gonna win this Goodreads Choice Awards. There's really no competition. Sarah J. Maas is gonna take it all, but I love seeing the competition. You know what I mean? Like, what can compete with that? So I don't know. If we all put our eggs in one basket, we might be close to Sarah J. Maas's book, but I don't know. I don't think this one will win. I don't know anybody who's read it really, but I know a lot of people have. A Touch of Chaos by Scarlett St. Clair. I didn't read this series. I read her other series, King of Battle and Blood. I really enjoyed the first book of that series, but I'm not a big Hades and Persephone fan. For whatever reason, I don't always love those retellings. So that's why I haven't read this one at all. I don't plan to, but it's just another one that doesn't surprise me that it's on this list because a lot of people love it. Also, I like Scarlett St. Clair's writing. I just don't like every book. So there's that. Oh, yes, yes. Okay, this is a book that not only I have read, but I own this book, okay? 100% agree. This should be on here. I'm glad it is. I absolutely loved this book. I got an arc of it, so I read it so long ago, but I cannot wait for the second book in this series. Totally all the Viking vibes. Like, if you want a Viking book, you read this one. You know what I mean? Like, this one is so good. Loved it. Of course, I'm a huge Daniel L. Jensen fan, so of course I would say that. I can't even be unbiased about that. I cannot be unbiased about that. Like, I am a biased opinion person on this author, okay? Take it how you will. I love everything she's ever written. So I'm really glad to see that one too. Oh my gosh, will I vote for that over Quicksilver? Like, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. I'll have to think about it, but I probably will end up voting for Quicksilver just because I love it so much. But this one, also super, super good. Phantasma. Okay. So I just finished this book recently and it will be on my November wrap up. However, I think I ended up giving it 3 stars. It was just okay for me. Here's the thing. The trials were cool. The trials were very, very cool. It took a long time to get into the game. And then once I was in the game, there's gonna be 9 trials. And here's the thing. Do I wanna sit through 9 trials of that book? The book felt so long. so long. And then it felt very like disjointed because you'd have the trial and then you'd stop and then have a little side quest thing with the love interest, and then you'd kind of go back into the trial and then stop again. So it felt very jerky in the plot momentum for me. And I wanted to love this book so much because A, it said it was an adult Caraval and I love Caraval, but B, it was just like clunky to me. Like, it was very clunky to me. However, I do think the idea is cool. I loved the sisters, like trying to find the sisters thing. I kind of really liked the hero, even though he's very heavy-handed with the romance, like in the sexual innuendos. Don't care, I still loved it. And I love the trials, but it's just a lot of that plot momentum. It kept making me put the book down. And then when I went back to it, I was just like, oh, I'm gonna have to wait for another trial to go by. Even though they were cool. It was something about that book. It was also a really hard week when I read that, so take that with what you will. I think it was a good book, but it's definitely not beating Quicksilver or A Fate Inked in Blood, that's for sure. A Promise of Paradise by Kate Golden. Not surprised this is on the list at all. Don't think it's gonna win, and I also haven't read this series. For some reason, the series just doesn't like appeal to me in any way. I don't know why. Like, I can't tell you why. It's probably very good. It's probably really fun. But I've never felt the urge to pick it up at all. I don't know why. It seems like a kind of generic fantasy romance to me, which is weird because a lot of them are the same. So really, you could say that about any fantasy romance. And I please don't take that as a bad thing, because I don't. I'm sure these books are very good, but for me personally, nothing about it strikes me as something that I need to read today. You know what I mean? I'm glad that so many people love it though, that it's on this list. Like, honestly, I think it's cool. Oh gosh, A Crown This Cold and Heavy. Another one that I'm not surprised is on here. However, this is another series that I will not be continuing with. I did read the first book. And again, it was very meh. Like, it was very middle of the road. Nothing about it really stuck out to me. I found myself when listening to the audiobook, my mind just wandering. Like, nothing was really captivating me that much. I feel bad saying that, but I just felt like there wasn't anything special about it, and I don't know that I need to read the rest of it. But again, congratulations to the authors. Like, clearly a lot of people love these books, even though I'm not one of them. And I'm really happy for them that they have their book on this list. Like, this is very much not just a popularity contest, but like, Goodreads is such a big site and everything for book lovers. To have your book seen in this way, to make it so visible, like, it's just gonna have your readership grow. So I'm honestly very happy for the authors that get put on this list. Like, congratulations, you all. The Honey Witch. I've heard this one, but again, I don't know how much of a romance it is and fantasy. Like, it's definitely like more cozy fantasy. Again, I haven't read it. So I don't know much about it. To me, witches are more paranormal. So when I see witches, I'm like, oh, that's paranormal. But there is no paranormal category, so I get why it's in here. But yeah, this is again cozy fantasy romance, and I don't plan on reading it. It's just not my thing. Like, I'm not a cozy reader. So when I hear the word cozy, I'm just like, I'm not gonna read that at all. I'm sure, again, this is a good book, just not one for me. That's all. So far, I've literally only read, what, 3 books? Well, I read one of one series, so 4. Blood of Hercules. Okay, this one I do want to read. Also, it's indie, is it not? Like, isn't this one indie? I have been seeing this on my Kindle, like, recommendations of things, and I just added it to like my fantasy romance list. I definitely am gonna pick this one up at some point. Probably won't be before the end of the year, but I do want to read this one. It seems really cool and a little bit different. Again, I don't always love things with gods, so I'm a little like what is the Hercules element of this? I remember I read the synopsis, but I don't remember what that synopsis involved. All I can think is that it's about villains, and I love villains. So give me like some kind of like bloody, like, I don't know, is it like a gladiator thing? Like to me, this book seems very gladiator-ish. And if that's what this is, I'm all for it. That's probably the reason why I added it to my list. But yeah, I want to read this one. So this is definitely on my TBR. Fate of the Sun King by Nisha J. Tooley. I read another book recently by Nisha J. Tooley. This is her other series. I can't remember what it's called. The Heart of the Fire, Night Fire, Heart of something. I'll put it on here. I don't remember the name of it. I haven't read this series yet because I've heard this one is more YA. I thought this book was YA. Like, am I wrong in that? I know there's a YA category, so I'm just surprised to see it on the Romantasy list, but maybe they don't care if it's YA or adult on this list. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are. This is again a trials type of book, and I think it could be really cool. I did really enjoy Nisha J. Tooley's writing, so I definitely want to get to this series at some point. Kind of surprised it's on here, to be honest, because I haven't heard anything about this third book. Didn't even know it was out. Didn't even know it was out. And of course, my dog has to start barking. Sorry about that. And then, of course, we have House of Flame and Shadows. This book is gonna win. Like, there's no competition. When a Sarah J. Maas book is out, it wins. Okay? I get why. I'm just kind of annoyed seeing it all the time. I just feel like no other book is gonna even have a chance. And you know, I'm again happy for the author. What a feat, you know what I mean, to have a book that resonates with so many readers. You have this absolute frenzy of a fan base. Like, good for her, you know what I mean. But again, I'm an indie fantasy romance reader, and so when this book is out, I'm just like, but what about all the other people? I have not read this book either. Don't plan on it because it's urban fantasy. I read Crescent City, loved it. Read the second book, House of Earth and Blood, hated it with every ounce of my being. And it honestly is the book that made me go, maybe urban fantasy isn't for me. It made me really freaking hate it. And I don't like the direction that this plot was taking. Like, I don't think it's a spoiler or a secret that she wants to create a multiverse with her books. And I don't care. I don't care. So, honestly, not planning on reading this book either at all. Will I read other Sarah J. Maas books? Of course, because she's like the fantasy romance queen. I love the ACOTAR series. So whenever that next book comes out, I'm sure we'll probably read it. But this book, don't care. Don't care about it. We all know it's gonna win. And I'm not sad about that, but I'm just like, oh, okay. Anyways, those are the nominees for the Goodreads Choice Awards. Any surprises? Anything that shocked you? Let me know in the comments below, because some of these honestly did surprise me that are on here, and I love to see them nominated. I'm either going to be voting for Quicksilver or A Fate Inked in Blood. Honestly, it's probably going to be Quicksilver because I am like my heart still flutters for that book. You know what I mean? I absolutely loved it with every fiber of my being, and I think it's well deserved. So I will probably be voting for that one, but let me know who you're voting for. Thank you for joining me today, and have a wonderful day. Bye.